Hardcore randomized Nuzlocks are my favorite way to play Pokemon games. But what is a hardcore randomized Nuzlocke? Well, for one, the starter is always completely randomized. Along with the trainers and the route encounters, I never pass the level of the next boss battle's ace Pokemon. You're not allowed to use items in battle. I always play on set mode, and we have to give our Pokemon nicknames for that emotional connection. Join me as I attempt to beat a hardcore randomized Pokemon Black Nuzlocke. As always, we start our adventure by letting the professor know we're a boy and our name is Lay Seabear. We get our beautiful introduction to the Unova region, and we're introduced to our two childhood friends, Bianca and Cheren. Our starter choices are as followed: Mewtwo, Chatot, and Volcarona, and you know I can't pass up a Mewtwo. Right away, we get into a battle with trainer Cammy. I have names for the trainers randomized in this run. She chose a Chatot, our Mewtwo exerts pressure, a Bide does nothing, and a Luster Purge almost takes it down. One more does the job. Our room's destroyed after the battle, but our friends don't care as Thomas challenges us right after. He sends in his Volcarona, and our level 6 Mewtwo should be able to take this thing down no problem. Luster Purge does over half. I go for a rapid spin just to see what it'll do. It doesn't do much, and one more Luster takes it down. We now go to level 8. With our room now destroyed, we say peace out mom, and we run to go start our adventure. We meet up with Professor Juniper, and she lets us nickname our Mewtwo. I opt to name him Kaneki. Try to guess which show I'm naming my Pokemon after in this video. We take our first steps on Route 1, and after the catching tutorial we now have Pokeballs, and we can get our first encounter of the run, which turns out to be a female Crobat. After weakening the Crobat, I luckily catch it in one Pokeball. Pretty awesome. I nickname it Rize, and we move on to the next city. After regrouping with Bianca and the professor in the Pokemon Center and more boring tutorial stuff, I go outside and there's a commotion going on in Town Square. Join up with Thomas as we meet someone named Getsus who represents Team Plasma. We are jumped after the meeting by a mysterious trainer named N, and he challenges us to a battle. He sends in a level 7 Charmander, we exert our pressure, and one Luster Purge takes it down no problem. After the battle, Thomas tells us we should head on to the next route, and we do. Our mom meets us up and gives us the running shoes. Our next encounter is a Sudowoodo that I accidentally send into oblivion. After making our way through the route, we have another rival battle already with Cammy. At this point, Rize knows Fusion Bolt, which one-shots the Politoed, and as she sends in the Chatot, it one-shots that as well. So long, Cammy. Before we can progress toward the first gym, we have to take on Thomas once more as well. He leads with his Amoonguss, and Rize hits an Air Slash that instantly takes it down. Volcarona comes in next, and the super effective Air Slash takes it down in 2. We go to level 13, and that's the 2 rival battles out of the way. We receive the only gift Pokemon I'm going to be accepting for this run, which turns out to be Sharpedo. Pretty sweet. I nickname it Hinami, and we move on to the first gym. It's against leader Veronica, who sends out a Regice first. I lead with the Hinami, and I hit it with Beat Up, and the Beat Up does just under a third. A second one gets it down to the yellow, and then a critical third take it out. Next up, he sends in a Starly, and I send in Rize, and a Fusion Bolt gets us our first badge. We go back to the Dreamworks, where we meet up with Cammy once again. This time, we see a Munna, and then Team Plasma comes, and what is going on? They start milking the Munna? Okay, and then they challenge us to a battle. He sends in a Phanpy. At this point, Kaneki knows Grass Pledge, and it takes down the Phanpy, no problem. We're set into a second battle right away against a Krogunk. The fighting poison type is no match for Luster Purge as it goes down. They go back to thrusting the Munna, trying to get Dream Mist, as clones of Getsus appear. Ask them what the hell's going on, and honestly, I need an answer to that question as well, because I am concerned, confused. Thankfully, the Munna's mother comes, and whatever that was, dealt with. Now that we have the trio badge, Thomas wants another battle. He leads with Volcarona as I lead with Kaneki. Luster Purge does about a fourth damage to this Volcarona as I'm hit with a Will-O-Wisp and burned. Another Luster Purge gets it deep in the red, but an Oranberry gets it up in the yellow. I get screeched, one more Luster Purge, and the Volcarona faints. Next up, he sends in Larion. I go for Hinami, and a Bubble Beam almost takes it down. Sturdy prevents it, one more, it's gone. After the battle, Team Plasma runs by, and then Cammy and a little girl catch up to explain the situation. Apparently they had taken the little girl's Pokemon, and we need to get that back. But first, we can get our next encounter, a Charizard. This would be an absolute game changer. After luring it in the yellow, I luckily throw my only Great Ball, and I manage to catch it. What a catch. What a beautiful fiery flying lizard. What a beautiful Pokemon to add to the team. I nickname it Juzo, and I happily go on my way. I meet up with Thomas in the cave, and after dispatching Team Plasma, we get the Pokemon back, return it to the girl in Cami, she's thankful, and we get heal balls. These are gonna get put right to work, I promise you. We encounter a Meditite, and after getting it very low in the red, we nickname it Kishu, and then 2 seconds later, I try to escape a battle from a Kyurem, and yeah, see you later, Kishu. That's our first death for the run. While trying to enter the second gym, N asks us some precarious questions, and after we don't answer to his liking, he challenges us to a battle. I lead with Hinami against his Pidove and take it down no problem. Next up, he sends in Lampent that I hit with a Crab Hammer, it goes down as well, and Gothita is no match for beat up. We can now take on the second gym leader, Anne. Anne sends in a Conkeldurr as I lead with my Kaneki. Kaneki takes the Conkeldurr down no problem. He sends in Dialga. I switch out to Hinami. I lead with a Crab Hammer that crit. Dialga hits me with an Iron Tail that activates my Rough Skin and gets it in the yellow. Another crit Crab Hammer gets the Dialga at about 1 HP. As it goes for Iron Tail, it gets me to 4, but my Rough Skin takes it down and we beat Gym Leader Anne and get our second badge. After trying to leave the museum, Team Plasma's up to no good again. As they take the Dragonite skull from its fossil, we go outside and we meet the third gym leader, Berg. He's asking what's going on, he's looking for a change of pace, and he finds this hectic situation daring. We meet up with the Team Plasma grunt, defeat him, get that skull back, and then we regroup with the 2 gym leaders, and thanks us, gives us a moonstone that will certainly come important later. We return the skull and we go on our way. Super cool bridge number 1! I love these bridges, and the ambiance of this city is beautiful. We can now get our next encounter, which turns out to be something I had in my last video, a Blossom. Beautiful, cute, and everything we need on the team right now. We get it low and catch it and nickname it Utah. I try to enter the third gym, we learn there's a problem, Bianca's Pokemon's missing. Who would have guessed it's Team Plasma once again. We chase down Team Plasma as Getsus goes on a spiel about the black Pokemon he wants so he can make it so all Pokemon in the world are free from their trainers. We finally get the Muna back to Cami. We can finally take on the third gym leader, Crystal. Crystal leads with an Archon. I lead with Utah. I switch out to Kaneki because I don't like the type matchup. I hit the Archon with a Luster Purge, it goes down, the Silcoon comes in next, a Luster Purge takes that one down, and then I send in Utah for his ace Wartortle. It glares, I hit it with a Grass Knot, and then another one critical hits and takes it down. We now have our third gym badge. While making our way to the next city, we are jumped by Team Plasma yet again. After taking them out, we get a bike. Cool. I can now get some more encounters. I find a Nidoran in the next route, and of course I'm gonna catch this thing. After putting it to sleep and getting it low, we throw an Ultra Ball and we have Renji on our team. But wait, there's more. Next up, we find an Excadrill, and I think that's going to take Renji's spot for now because, I mean, who wouldn't want this beast? Saito's on the team, we meet up with N once again. We meet up with N again, and after he invites us on a really strange wheel ride, he's into me. What? Yeah, that's cool. We take him down in battle. He calls us quite strong, and we get a close-up where he's got that sinister smile. Next up is the fourth gym leader, Joey, and she sends out her Chansey first. I lead with Hinami, and I one-shot that thing surprisingly. Furret comes in next. Crabhammer gets it really low, but she heals up. Another Crabhammer gets it even lower, and we finally take it down with Beat Up. Lastly, her Feraligatr comes in, we send in Utah, and this thing takes it down no problem with Grass Knots. And that's the fourth gym badge right there. Beautiful. It wouldn't be Pokemon without more encounters as we encounter a Don fan. I send in Utah, and then 2 seconds later we got Toka. After crossing Super Cool Bridge number 2, we meet up with the fifth gym leader, Cliff, and he's pretty pissed that Team Plasma escaped once the bridge went down. It's kinda his fault, but whatever. We corner them and take them on. The first Plasma Grunt has an Excadrill. I send out Saito. Saito hits a super effective move that leaves the Excadrill at 1 HP. The Grunt's Excadrill responds with a Cross Chop that crits and takes Saito out, and we have our second death of the run. Painful times. We get Renji back on the team, it evolves immediately into Nidorino, and then we use that Moonstone from earlier to get our Nidoking. We take out the Grunts, and then these Ice Workers take the Plasma monsters away. Lucky for us. It's time to take on the fifth gym leader, who is actually named Malcolm. Malcolm leads with a Swanna, as I lead with Kaneki, as I usually do. Luster Purge takes the Swanna down to about a third health. As it hits a wing attack, it doesn't do much. Grass Pledge takes the bird down as he sends in Crustle. I hit it with a Grass Pledge that does about nothing, as I'm hit with a Silver Wind that does a lot more than I expected. I switched out in Fear, and then Hinami gets hit with a super effective Silver Wind, so I send in Utah, and then one more take it down. The Ace Driftbloom comes out, and I send in Kaneki once again to finish the job. We now have the 5th gym badge. While trying to advance, we meet up with Malcolm again, who uses a Pokemon we didn't see to clear the Galvantula web, and we can finally get in the cave. We're jumped by some shadow people as Zen says, "What up, my little secret?" Kinda scared and kinda concerned. I'm like, alright, cool. The Professor and Cammy meet up. We learn that Cammy's been protecting the Professor in this gross cave. Lucky for me, I get a Lucky Egg, which will make leveling up quite easy. Nagit about it! We meet N at the end of the cave, and Cammy and Juniper catch up. N has nothing nice to say to the Professor, and we proceed. We meet the 6th gym leader Skyla in the next area, and wow, what a beautiful area. We get our next encounter, and luckily for me, it is the beautiful Dragonair. An Ultra Ball later, and we have it on our team. What a beautiful snaky boy. I name it Iowa, and I am happy as hell. Once I enter the tower, nothing eventful happens, so we just jump to the top, greeting Skyla as she's already saved the Pokemon that was up here. She tells us we should ring the bell. Ring ring. What a great sight. Look at the wind in the background. These games really were beautiful. Now I can challenge her. We learn her name's actually Kate, a very uneventful battle, and we get our next badge. Moments later, we're challenged by Thomas, who sends in a Gorgeous first. This thing's actually kinda scary for Juzo, so I switch out to Rize. It hits me with a Water Sport that does ridiculous damage, so I send in Hinami. Hinami is also hit with a Water Sport, which does insane damage for it being a Water type. A Beat Up gets it about half, and then another Water Sport crits and takes me down. Bye bye, Hinami. Enraged, I take the rest of the battle down no problem, but I cannot believe we lost our beautiful Sharpedo that way. The champion comes down, hooks us up with Surf, and now we don't have a Pokemon that can use Surf, so I add Iowa to the team so we can actually use it. Once again, we meet up with Team Plasma, and of course Thomas is there, because he's there every hitch of our journey. Glorious Lord N. Oh, we can challenge the 7th gym leader Zoe, and this guy's team is an absolute joke. I mean, his best Pokemon was the Skitty, so yeah, that was the 7th gym. We now have our gym badge, and we can proceed. We get jumped by the shadow people, and all our friends are here. Zoe's like, yup, show yourselves. They show themselves, we make our way, and we get another encounter. This time, it's a cute little Sealy boy. Of course I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna nickname it Donato. I carry on as Zoe and Thomas explain they'll keep Team Plasma at bay. We encounter N and Zekrom, and this is such a cool cutscene. I mean, look at it. N's telling us Reshiram's waiting in the form of the Lightstone, and he takes off on a super cool Corviknight. The champion and Thomas proceed to the desert resort, but we actually beat him there. Once here, Thomas tells us we have to make our way through. As we do, we get down there and we meet up with Getsus and the champion. After that charade, Professor Juniper calls us up and says meet me in Nakareen City. I go there, we meet up with Anne once again, and she gives us the Lightstone. Now we're able to awaken Reshiram. Super cool bridge number 3. This one's not as cool as the other two, but yep. We make our way to what I always like to call Dragon City, and Getsus is going on a spiel and just letting the whole world know about some hero dragon legend. Yeah, and then I catch a Drapion for my encounter, nickname it Yukina, and then moments later I encounter the beautiful, flowery Shaman. And this replaces Utah, because why wouldn't I want Ito over a Utah? I challenge the next gym leader, Leo. He sends out an Articuno first, and there's a lot of pressure in this fight. I hit the Articuno with a Luster Purge. It does about 1/3, and then I'm hit back with a Shadow Ball. I send in Juzo, and a Flamethrower takes the Articuno down, no problem. Feebas is next. Ito hits it with a sword. Bye-bye. Onion Boy comes in. Onion Boy's about to get hit with the Flamethrower, and it does about almost all its health. Hit agility's up, I don't know why. One more flamethrower, and we have all 8 badges now. The professor hooks us up with the Master Ball, pretty sweet of her. We'll put that to use later, as we're challenged by Thomas for the last time. He leads with a Rapidash, as I lead with Iowa. Surf does about half, and then another one takes it down. I'm left pretty low in the red though, as I switch in Renji, and Renji gets one-shotted. Really annoying, that's okay though. Juzo comes in for some sweet redemption, 2 flamethrowers, get it super low in the red, and one last take it down. The OG Volcarona comes out, few Luster Purges as usual, and it's gone. Chimecho's his last Pokemon. I swap out in a Rize, and Rize has no problem taking the Chimecho down as we take Thomas out for the last time. Look, Mom, I'm flying, no hands! Once on Victory Road, we encounter our last random route encounter. It's the Conkeldurr, I catch it, super cool. Kaya's the name, taking on the champions of the game. We lead right to the Pokemon League. Moments after arriving, I decide why not just jump right in. We're going in right away. We proceed to the first Elite Four member, and we are wafted up in a cool way as we take on Antoinette. She leads with a Mantike, I lead with Iowa, I switch out into Ito, and I take this thing down with a Leaf Blade, one-shot critical hit. Next up's Ninjask, I switch in Juzo. I flinch, but a flamethrower takes the Ninjask down. She sends in a Lily, I send Iowa in, and we start taking this thing down with some surfs, not doing a ton of damage and taking a bit in return. We finally get it down, and then her Ace Point comes in. This thing's just gonna go bye-bye. And that's the first Elite Four member down. Fiery Red Carpet leads us to the second member, Robin. He leads with Manaphy. I send in Iowa, and then I switch out into Ito. The Manaphy goes for a Grass Knot, which does 4 damage. A Leaf Blade does about 2/3, and then one more take it down. Sweet. Tallow comes in next. It does actually surprising damage to Rize, so I switch out. I'm going to go back into Iowa. After taking another critical hit, I'm kind of scared, but one shot, switch it out into a Poliwrath, then we switch into Kaneki, take a Bubble Beam, not much. Psycho Cut does about 2/3, and then another one takes the Poliwrath down. As the Tallow comes back in, I hit it with 2 Psycho Cuts, the thing gives no XP, and it's gone. Tentacruel is last, we hit it with a Luster Purge, do about all of its health. As we're hit with a Sludge Bomb, he full restores, I do a Grass Pledge, which does nothing. Psycho Cut does about a half, and then a Luster Purge to take the Tentacruel down. That's the second Elite Four member. This is my favorite Elite Four introduction. Look how cool this room is. Once here, we wake Leo up from her nap, and she challenges us right away. Stunky's her first Pokemon, and this thing's no match. 2 Surfs take it down. Chandelure is up next, as it hits me with a Confuse Ray. I hurt myself in confusion, then the Chandelure curses itself. I use Surf, and I take it down. The curse does pretty good damage. I switch into Kaya for the Absol. I get Smoke Screen, but I hit it with a Brick Break that breaks through. Next up, Arceus comes in. Brick Break does about half, and then it hits me with Payday a few times. Gets me kinda low, but one more Brick Break takes it down, and we have our third Elite Four member destroyed. Next up, lamest introduction in the Elite Four, Marcellus. Just for that, I gotta take you down. Juzo comes in, Durant's the first Pokemon, Flamethrower, bye-bye. Regirock, the best Reggie in my opinion, is no match for Ito as 2 Leaf Blades take it into oblivion. Carnivine comes out, Flamethrower, you know how it goes. Garatina's actually pretty scary. Juzo flies up high in a fly. I hit a crit that does decent damage. I'm not doing much to this scary monster of the dark, so I switch into Kaneki. While I'm hit pretty hard, I go out with Luster Purge. It does decent damage. Dual Shot doesn't do too much, and then one more takes it down, luckily for me. That is now all Elite Four members defeated. I proceed to the Champion's room where I encounter N and the Champion. It seems that N's already won, and he tells the Champion he will free all Pokemon. His castle then comes out of the ground. How did the Elite Four members not know this giant hidden thing was in the ground? I don't get it. The 6 Sages of Cringe come and try to stop me. The gym leaders from along our way come and they help. We go to N's room, and it's pretty sweet in here. We find a rare candy. He's got a cool little plane flying around, and we can use 2 rare candies and actually evolve Iowa into a Dragonite. We can now proceed throughout the castle as N summons his Zekrom to come help him out. This thing comes crashing through the throne room, and boy is it spooky. He plants his feet, he says, "What up?" with a spooky scream. Our Lightstone starts to react, and boy oh boy is about to get intense in here as Reshiram appears. Look how cool this is. The fire, oh, so sweet. So we take on the Reshiram, which is also going to be randomized, and it's a Bayleaf. I kill it, but it says try to catch me, so I used a Master Ball, and I catch my legendary Bayleaf. I can now take on N. N leads with a Chinchino. Not too scary, but I switch into Kaya anyway, because I want to one-shot this bad boy. It gets me extremely low, actually. 11 health, but a Brick Break take it down. Arcanine comes in next. I switch out to Iowa. I mean, we're level 55 with this thing at this point, just from the battles in the Elite Four alone. It should have no problem hanging and taking down the Arcanine with a couple surfs. Next up, Bidoof comes in. I slack off, just heal up in case anything intense comes out. Dragon Claw takes it out, no problem. Pidgeotto in, I hit it with a Dragon Claw. Do pretty good damage. Wing attack doesn't do much, he heals it. One more gets it back where it was, and then we take it down with a third. Hitmontop comes in. Dragon Claw does about 2/3. We heal up with slack off just in case, and then we take it down. Nidorina's ends ace, and wow, this was a really underwhelming fight. He didn't have much at all. 2 surfs get it down to 1 HP, one more, bye-bye. And that was the end fight. Pretty underwhelming, honestly. He's not happy that Zekrom and him were defeated, even though there was no Zekrom. Getsus pulls up, tells N he's not a real boy. He flames us, challenges us to battle. We learn his name's Esteban after 20 hours of gameplay. He leads with his Gyarados, and we switch into Rize. Fusion Bolt, bye-bye Gyarados, nice knowing ya. He has a Tailo. I hit it with a Fly just for the memes, because, I mean, what's this thing gonna do? Hang on, nope. Larvitar comes out. I hit it with a Sludge Bomb, it poisons. I don't know why I even stayed in on this thing. I switch out into Kaya as the Larvitar hits a Sandstorm. It's getting intense in here. A Sacred Sword takes it down. He's got a Diglett next. What are these teams? Lopunny comes in, probably his best Pokemon, but I mean, it's no match for Kaya. It hits me with a Judgment that does decent damage, but a Brick Break gets it to 1, and the Sandstorm takes it down. Dustox is his last Pokemon, and while I probably should switch out, I don't. I hit it with a Bulldoze, it does about a 1/4. It hits a Quiver Dance, you know, its speed and stuff goes up. Bulldoze, it's almost down. Crits me, one more Bulldoze, yep, that's Esteban defeated. I mean, we did it. That was my first randomized hardcore Nuzlocke, and I only lost 4 Pokemon and we won. N-Freeze Zekrom, Pokemon will remain with their trainers, and that's the end of the game. Iowa, the Dragonite, Kaneki, the Mewtwo, Ito, the Shaman, Kaya, the Conkeldurr, Juzo, the Charizard, Rize, the Crobat. Thank you very much for your help on this journey. If you guys made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.